Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Veolia's live webinar session. Today, we will discover the holistic perspective on water in the clinical lab. Before we start, let me run through the webinar rules today. So first of all, because it's a very popular event, so attendees' lines are muted. However, if you have questions, you can type in the chat box and we will answer them afterwards. Today's presentation and the brochures are in the handout section, so you can download them easily. After the webinar, there will be a short survey to better understand your priorities, and let's get started. So for today, we have our team from the commercial team, Mr. Ahmed Elakat, based in UAE, and our team from UK, Elga UK, Mrs. Natasha Tsarak, and Mr. Fahad Mahmoud. If you would like to learn more about our team, you can find our LinkedIn profiles attached on the biography. And I will be Nergis Abici, your moderator today. So Natasha, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Nergis. So, and also thank you for everyone joining today. So what are we going to cover in this short webinar? I'm going to give you a quick overview of Elga and Veolia before handing over to Fahad to take you through the potential risks in clinical labs and what makes a good water system for the clinical lab. Then Ahmed will cover some advances in managing your clinical budget more effectively. And then finally back to Fahad to introduce a unique market innovation for handling the waste from your clinical labs. Next slide, please, Nergis. So at Elga, we're proud to be part of the world's largest environmental management company. And as a group, Veolia works in energy, environmental services, and of course, the water space. And we provide up to 96 million people every year with drinking water. And we're converting 47 million metric tons of waste to energy. It's just some of the stuff that we do on a daily basis. Moving on to Elga specifically, next slide, please. Elga's been in the water space for about 85 years, probably the only laboratory water supplier that is dedicated just to this space. And the reason why we exist is that we want to deliver our expertise to ensure that you deliver yours, really, whether that be in the clinical, scientific, or industrial laboratories. We operate in around 60 different countries, and all of our service and sales personnel are Elga certified and trained. And we have 3 major manufacturing and distribution hubs, one in Europe, one in Asia, and one in America. So we're a real global organization focusing on laboratory water. Next slide, please. More importantly, where are we in the Middle East? There is a very dedicated team based in all of the major points throughout the Middle East, so you can be assured that you're covered regardless of your need. So I hope that gives you a flavour of the network and support that you have when you choose to partner with Elga. And now I'd like to hand over to Fahad to talk about all things clinical lab.
Thanks, Natasha. So I'm going to begin my section reviewing the quality of water that is required to supply clinical analyzers as defined by the Clinical and Laboratory Standards Institute. Next slide, please. So with the Clinical Laboratory Reagent Water, or CLRW, this is an important standard for water purity feeding into clinical analyzers and is a widely adopted standard for in vitro diagnostic applications. It aims to guarantee the use of a basic level of water purity so that clinical chemistry assays can be run consistently with minimum risk to the analyzer and the clinical test results. CLRW water is important because laboratories need accreditation. The College of American Pathologists, CAP, is a recognized global organization who have endorsed and reinforced the CLRW standard, and it's a standard we see all over the world. With the CLRW specification you see on this slide, there's a limit of 4 key types of impurities in pure water. These are ions, particulates, organics, and bacteria. Impurities in the water can impact the clinical analyzer performance by interfering with the chemistry of the tests that are performed in the analyzer. This in turn can cause poor or inaccurate results. Water impurities can also induce errors in the instrument, in itself leading to maintenance downtime. Next slide, please. So let us look at some of the many origins in the lab of contaminated water and how it can negatively impact experimental results. So typically in a clinical analyzer, you have an incubator bath, and this can be a breeding ground for bacteria, which can interfere with the photometric readings, potentially resulting in incorrect patient results and analyzer downtime. Both of these can have serious impact on patient treatment and hospital laboratory costs. Within the analyzer, you also have the sample, probe, and wash station. And this is where any impure water can cause inaccuracies with the probe calibration, which of course can lead to incorrect patient results. You have the cuvette wash station, where any impure water within that can't clean the cuvettes correctly, which could lead potentially to patient sample carryover and contamination, which in itself then will result in incorrect patient results. You've got the pipetting syringes, where any impure water within that could lead to inaccurate and imprecise pipetting, and any residue buildup could interfere with the sample aspiration and could hinder certain assays. You've got the reagent probe and wash station, where any impure water within that can cause reagent instability, therefore resulting in unnecessary reagent wastage, which of course in itself is an expense. And finally, you've got the internal reservoir. And if there's any bacteria in the water supply here, the internal reservoir would be a perfect hiding place for them to thrive, which again results in numerous contamination issues, potentially leading to analyzer downtime, which in itself has multiple costs and patient treatment implications. Next slide, please. So when thinking about this presentation, I really wanted to leverage my experience in water treatment to provide you with a kind of behind-the-scenes detail that would allow you to ask the right questions when purchasing a water purification system. Next slide, please. So the question I asked myself is, if I worked in a clinical lab and I needed to buy a water treatment system, knowing what I know now, what do I need to be aware of to make sure I pick the right one? And I've broken this down into 5 key areas. 1, is there an understanding of the quality of the feed water? 2, does the water purification system require any additional treatment steps? 3, what is the water purification system feeding and who requires the purified water? 4, what are the redundancy features and how will I be supported in the event of a breakdown? And finally, 5, what would be the total cost of operations over a period of time? Next slide, please. So understanding the quality of the feed water. In my previous role as a proposal engineer for Veolia, one of the first things I would need to do when looking at a proposed water treatment system is understand the quality of the feed water. In order to achieve compliant purified water and for the unit to work as expected, I need to know what's feeding it. The key here is making sure the feed water quality is within the specification stated by the water purification system manufacturer. Now, for me, I would have a few sources where I can obtain that information. I'd refer to Veolia's database of local water analysis results built over 20+ years of data. I'd cross-reference from municipal water analysis results. I'd liaise with local service engineers to rely on their experience. And if necessary, I'd arrange for a fresh water sample to be taken. Now, granted, you may not have this information to hand, but it is something your purified water supplier should have considered. So do ask the question and make sure they've considered all the variables. I'd also recommend asking facilities the question of water supply and what they do to maintain the water within the building. In some cases, facilities may disinfect the water pipes by dosing chlorine, and that slug of chlorine has the potential to damage the reverse osmosis membranes. So asking facilities of their cleaning schedule may save you a hefty bill and a prolonged downtime. Next slide, please. So the second question we need to ask is, does the water purification system require any additional treatment steps? Now, what you may find is that the proposed water purification system has multiple treatment steps that are not included as part of the core package. Now, this can be in the form of additional pre-treatment, such as softeners, or additional post-treatment, such as DI cylinders. These extra treatment steps take additional space in the lab, require additional maintenance, operating costs, and admin, all in terms of the salt required for the softeners, all the changing out of DI cylinders, not to mention the high capital cost for the supply and installation of the additional equipment in the first place. In my experience installing Elga's Medica Pro range of water purification systems in clinical labs, the pre and post treatment is all included within the package and is integral to the unit. The Medica is designed to deal with a wider range of feed water qualities to make the supply, installation, and maintenance of the unit as easy as possible. Another consideration will be the tank, which provides additional volume to cover periods of high demand. Although not a treatment step, the tank is an important part of the process flow, and the Medica's integrated 50-litre tank is sufficient to cover periods of high demand whilst taking up a small amount of space in your lab. I guess what I want to highlight here is ask the question. There may be a good reason for the additional treatment steps, or there may be a better package solution out there saving you time and money. Next slide, please. So third question is, what is the water purification system feeding and who requires purified water? Knowing which analyzers the water purification system will be feeding and if there would be any other demands on the water purification system will avoid the scenario of not having enough water during your operations. This is particularly important for larger labs where you have multiple analyzers, some of which may be made up of multiple modules, and cases where other departments extract containers worth of purified water, which wasn't accounted for in the purchasing phase of the water purification system. What I can say from an Elga Veolia perspective, we have worked with a vast number of different analyzer manufacturers and will get from them or know from experience the correct flow information that allows us to size accordingly. We would also recommend that when you are in the process of sizing the water purification system, make a log of who else uses the purified water. You may be surprised to find out who else relies on the water produced by your clinical water treatment system. Next slide, please. Fourth question, what are the redundancy features and how will I be supported in the event of a breakdown? Even with the best laid plans, we need to be prepared for the worst. The first port of call is to build in resilience as part of your configuration. So having a reliable unit backed with an effective maintenance program minimizes the risk of the breakdown in the first place. Ask for details of the service such as maintenance schedule, sanitization procedure, risk assessments, and training certificates. From an Elga Veolia perspective, all of our units are designed to achieve in excess of a 98% uptime in line with the analyzer manufacturers. And we have a thorough training and support program for service engineers to ensure they are competent to work on the Medica, along with detailed maintenance and sanitization procedures for planned maintenance service visits. If there is a breakdown, does the water purification system have a contingency to allow you to finish your test? With the Medica, we have an inbuilt emergency bypass, which can be activated within the unit by diverting mains feed water through the DI cylinder and microfilter to allow you to finish your test. Nergis, could you click on the slide, please? Thank you. In my experience in projects, installing multiple medical units in a duplex or triplex configuration, as you'll see in the slide, was a very common practice, particularly in larger laboratories where any downtime would have severe financial and reputational consequences. The idea with the duplex triplex configuration is that uptime is maintained at all times, and that during planned maintenance visits, one system, including the ring main, can be sanitized while the other one is online, and during a breakdown where one unit can cover the entire demand. Another question to ask is the water purification system covered by a service contract with breakdown? One of our core strengths as Elga Veolia is that we are backed by a large and effective service network that can provide rapid response in the event of a breakdown. One final feature I'd like to highlight, which helps with redundancy, is the way remote monitoring is utilized. Now, I'm sure you've heard a lot about remote monitoring. It's a bit of a trend nowadays, but for me, the real question amongst all the marketing is, how does remote monitoring help my laboratory run more efficiently? So the kinds of activities that this should include is remote diagnosis of issues prior to any engineer visit, ordering and delivery of parts to reduce return visits, or even the ability to send an engineer prior to the breakdown occurring in the first place. From an Elga Veolia perspective, we have our hub-grade remote monitoring platform, which, among many other benefits, does just that. Next slide, please. Finally, we have the total cost of operations. The point here to mention is, with the cost of operation, what are the cost of operations for the water purification system? Do ask this information because it'll give you a good understanding of whether the company you're dealing with really understands the performance of their product. And it brings together everything we've discussed so far today, such as what was their assumed feed water and overall usage? Do their calculations include all the necessary pre and post treatment? How much involvement of lab staff is there to change consumables? And how easy is it to do so? What I can say from an Elga Veolia perspective is that we provide our partners with a consumable calculator and a cost of ownership tool based on our expertise and many years of experience to accurately estimate consumable consumption depending on the local feed water and usage. What's really exciting about this space is that we're able to provide alternative payment models such as pay-per-use, which makes the use and running of our equipment more attractive from a cost perspective, as well as simplifying the payment of the equipment and consumables. So I'd like to hand over to my colleague Ahmed, who will dive in deeper into this subject in the coming slides.
Thanks, Fahad, and thanks everyone for joining. I do agree with you, Fahad. The total cost of operation is one of major concern of our customers. So do you really need to manage the whole cost of your lab water systems? Now in the Middle East, Veolia Water Technologies launched the pay-per-use concept, a service provision of the equipment that you need for the durations that you need for all your laboratory application with an optimum cost. You only pay as per your water consumption, and our commitment is to guarantee the availability of purified water at quality and quantity you need to maintain your business continuity. Next, please. Next slide, please. So how does our business model works? Our smart hub grid model built in Elga water purification system that measures and sends water usage data in a real time to our technical portal, and reception to our technical portal tagged with a unique identification code associated with the serial number of Elga product. Easily, the data can be accessed through the hub grid user interface, which could be in your laptop or even mobile. Next, please. So let's present why the pay-per-use model could be interesting for your customer. Next, please. Because we address customers' needs. Yes, click on that. Nervous, please. Which started from peace of mind for operational cost and maintenance issues to confident supply of the ultra-pure water. Besides all of that, A digital platform relies on multiple data sources and advanced analysis. Next, please. So from now, no need to engage with maintenance management or spare parts availability in your stock. In addition to Veolia support 24 hours per 7 days relied on remote data monitoring with a digital library, stores all related documentations. Next, please. And be confident in the supply of purified water. And thanks for digital reporting that use operational KPIs. And our digital platform has the required data analyzed by our service engineers daily. And that's why we increase the prospect of a first-time fix visit. Next, please. Last but not least, our customer will have the ability to optimize the OPEX cost and reduce the risk with alarm management platform. Your Elga product will be monitored by VWT and any maintenance requirements will be scheduled to keep your systems running without any interruption. Next, please. And here I would like actually to present selected references globally. Yes, please, Nargis. Yeah. Click on it. Like Rocket, it's leader in providing carbohydrates for cell culture. And Metabrain Research Center that's involved in metabolic disorder research. And finally, Takasajo develops flavors for world's most successful manufacturers. Next, please. Moreover, it's my pleasure to highlight one of the key accounts laboratory located in Saudi Arabia, who prefer pay-per-use contract than others. And actually his needs was the expansion of the production facility with a new laboratory water systems for new clinical analyzers. And that time actually Veolia Water Systems in Saudi collaborate to ensure the treatment of the customer's water through pay-per-use model, not through any other traditional model. And he was actually very satisfied. And actually he guaranteed the ability to provide water, as we said before, in quality and quantity of customers' lab. I hope you like this model. And now I would like to hand over to Fahd, who will present the unique market innovations around handling the waste from your clinic lab.
Thank you, Ahmed. So this is a little intro to you guys for our liquid waste management solution called the Medica Biox. Next slide, please, Nergis. So here at Elga Veolia, we understand that we have a responsibility to apply our expertise in any way that assists our customers in the laboratory to run their tests for their patients as efficiently and as safely as possible. This has led us to work very closely with major clinical analyzer OEMs to manage not only their water purification needs, but also assist in managing the liquid waste effluent produced from their clinical analyzers. With this in mind, we have developed the Medica Biox liquid waste management system. In a single compact unit, the Biox is able to control the level of biohazards, specific organic compounds, and adjust the pH levels. The Medica Biox simplifies risk management, reduces staff exposure to hazardous chemicals, decreases operational costs, and increases analyzers availability. And where applicable, can help healthcare providers comply with local and regional guidelines for biohazardous liquid waste disposal, providing regulatory, environmental, and brand protection. Next slide, please. As Elga, we are able to offer a more holistic solution to our customers where we provide reliable CLRW purified water upfront with the medical water purification system, and a waste effluent treatment unit on the back end with the Medica Biox. With the Biox, we developed a solution where you do not need to add chemicals to counteract the biohazardous nature of the effluent. And we leverage on our strength as a service-led organization to offer the most suitable service contract to help ensure continuous operations of your laboratory. This is currently a really exciting space for us. Regulations are currently evolving and coming to an end, and the need to address the waste from clinical analyzers is becoming increasingly important as a consideration for laboratories and clinical analyzers all over the world. And if this is something you'd like further information on, please feel free to contact the team here in the Middle East, who will be more than happy to help. Thank you, Nergis.
Thank you, and we are very happy to inform you. Thank you, Fahad and Ahmed. We are very happy to inform you that we will have our Elga Customer Day, so you have the chance to meet our experts from UAE, Saudi Arabia, and UK in Riyadh for our Customer Day scheduled the 23rd of March. Please register. It will be an interactive exchange with our experts. You will have the chance to see our units, and we will provide you with the latest information on the best available technologies. And plus, it will be a very interactive meeting with a quiz and little game. So we are very looking forward to meet you all in Riyadh. So please sign up for our Customer Day by end of this month. And now we're very happy to answer your questions. And I can see there's already 2 questions which we put on the slides from the audience. How do I get a code for pay-per-use? Who would like to answer this question?
Yeah,
Ahmed?
no issues. I would like actually, because yeah, it's my interesting topics always. Actually, pay-per-use codes you can definitely contact for each business unit which is located in the Middle East, in Egypt, Saudi, UAE, all actually most of the countries in Middle East we have a business unit. It's easy to contact that, or through the websites of Elga, or even our LinkedIn actually, which attached in the presentation. Thanks.
Okay, excellent. And another question is, which analyzers is Bioxomatic Medica compatible with?
So I guess this one will be for me. We've been working really closely with the major analyzer companies, not only with the development of our current Medica Biox range, but also the future development, which will further be in line with how the regulations are evolving. So with the current range of the Medica Biox, it is compatible with the Roche Cobas 6 and 8000 range of analyzers, along with the Siemens Italica IM and CH range of analyzers. In the future, we're pretty confident we'll be in a position where it will be more widely compatible. But as I mentioned, the regulations are evolving, and we've got a lot of development going on in the background. So we would look to have that compatible with a wider range of analyzer models.
Okay, thanks a lot, Fahad. I think that's it from the questions, and there will be a very short survey after we finish the webinar, and this webinar is recorded and will be sent to you as attachment. And if there's any further questions, please do not hesitate to contact us via email or LinkedIn. We are available, and we are very, very excited to see you all in our Customer Day and Riyadh end of the month. Have a lovely day. Bye-bye.